Hi everybody, welcome, namaskar, welcome to fourth day of our National Faculty Development Program on Teaching and Researching in Language and Literature Classrooms. I'm extremely sorry for what happened yesterday about our audio technical issue. And I'm going to introduce another dynamic personality today. Like our yesterday's presenter, resource person, Sadishan, she is also a polyglot. She has high literacy in three languages, Tamil, English and Hindi. And she has more than 20 years of experience. Like our all resource person, she is not only a teacher, she is also a very good trainer. A trainer for communicating and business language, and she has awarded a special certificate course from British Council. She graduated from both UG and PG from PSG College, Coimbatore, and she did her MPhil degree, pre-research in MA Literature and Linguistic Studies from Bharathiyar University. She is undertaking her PhD degree in same university. She is none other than Sivaranjani ma'am, Mrs. Sivaranjani ma'am. Actually, I have planned to invite Dr. Sendil Kumar on this fourth day. She was my teacher when I was studying UG first year. He taught me a very beautiful poem, Raven. But he could not be with us today. He has some medical problem. Instead of him, we got another dynamic personality. She is Mrs. Sivaranjani ma'am. Ma'am is a very good trainer in language, and she has conducted more than 60 faculty development program and conferences and language training, especially for students and other professionals. She is going to discuss with us a productive reading skill. Though she got awarded ELT in PG and MPhil, this English language teaching is not a new one for her. She has enough more than 15 years of experience in teaching and training both students and teachers and professionals. It is not easy to see such a great personality, such a great teacher on this occasion. And usually people like me, teachers like me, they're doing a single job, that is just teaching. Whenever we get a chance to train someone else, especially apart from our student side, maybe our friend, professional IT person, we are just skipping away. We are not just going to accept training them. But our resource person, Mrs. Sivaranjani ma'am, she has trained more than 100 professionals around Coimbatore, especially computer technical persons. She is a very good person, and she has attended more than 20 seminars and conferences. She chaired many sessions. I think this is her 34th or 25th session now. She has enough experience to handle both the students and the teachers, and she is technically good. And that's a highlighted point. She is technically good. Ma'am, I'm happy to welcome you on this fourth day. Thank you, ma'am. Please welcome.
Morning, dear friends, colleagues, and students. Welcome to the 5-day FTP on Teaching in Language and Literature. I am Sivaranjani, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of English at PSG College of Technology. I am going to handle today's session, and the topic is productive reading skills. Okay, so since all of us are in the academic field, we definitely have to read a lot all times. We have to keep learning and updating ourselves. So reading goes a long way in helping us with this learning process. I think all of you would agree on this. Now, let us get into the topic. Now, when we are placed in a situation where we read something, let us say I'm very bored. Now that it is lockdown period and all of us may not be particularly busy, we have a lot of free time at hand. So, to entertain myself, I sit with a novel or a poem. I read these for pleasure. At other times, I have to do some serious reading, understand the text thoroughly. For example, if I'm reading a legal deed or a letter or an article, I have to read it thoroughly and understand the contents. At other times, I have to do some academic study. Many of you may be research scholars, so you may have to read a lot. And people who have gone through this process of writing a dissertation or research, doing some research, reading for the research, you know how much reading is involved in it. So that is a serious kind of reading. Then at other times, I may have to gather some information. Maybe I have to read an ad or a catalog to get to know the product available, the services given, etc., etc., etc. Sometimes I may engage in some casual reading, like reading a newspaper or magazine. So we may just browse through the headlines, flip the pages to see the photographs. If interested in anything particularly, we may start reading it. We don't read the paper with a particular purpose. So it's just a casual reading just to while away the time. Now, these are the situations when we read. Next, now let us look at the benefits of reading or why we need to read. We read to gain knowledge. Whenever we want to know something, we have doubts regarding something, we immediately Google it and start reading, isn't it? Nowadays, because we have the digital mode, we opt for it instead of consulting a book. Next, reading. So to gain knowledge, we read a lot. Next, reading no doubt helps us improve our language. Reading introduces us to new words, new sentence patterns, improves your grammar, and it builds your writing skills and your speaking skills as well. Reading also improves your understanding of things. There are scientific evidences that reading enhances the brain activity, like improving focus and concentration. It improves mental stimulation. It stimulates our creativity and imagination. Like how we exercise a body to keep it fit, similarly, reading exercises the mind and keeps it fit. No doubt it is a wonderful stress buster. And a very important benefit of reading is that it betters our career prospects. I think all of you would agree on this. We become more knowledgeable, we enhance our communication skills, we enhance our comprehension, we are always alert. So all these things adds to the betterment of our career. Now the list of benefits is endless and manifold. So now we have seen what are the contexts in which we read and why we read. So all of us can now agree on that reading maketh a full man, as said by Bacon. So if you want to become a full man, you have to first read a lot. And we can also notice that Bacon says that reading is a precursor to all other skills. So if you have to develop, or if you want to develop your other skills like speaking or writing, probably the best way to start would be reading. Now, the next topic, unproductive or maybe productive reading. So, what makes our reading unproductive or productive? Like any task, whatever we do can be both productive or unproductive. So is reading, or rather, it is we who make it productive or unproductive. Now, the question is, can reading be really unproductive? It seems to be a very good habit, a very good skill. Can it really be unproductive? Yes, it can be. When we don't know why we are doing it, when there is no specific purpose while doing it. If we don't have a purpose, our minds would spend the least amount of energy on it. We'll be distracted easily, and obviously, whatever we read will not have an impact. Next, when we don't know what text to read, reading will be unproductive. When I first started my doctoral research, I was clueless about what to read. I kept reading whatever I came across. Now that consumed a lot of time, and not all of the times it was productive or purposeful. The next issue is we don't know how to read. If you ask a voracious reader, one who reads a lot, they might have developed some techniques to read faster and with a purpose. We'll shortly discuss some of them. Finally, the biggest mistake we make is we fail to record our reading. We simply read a text, complete it, and leave it at that. We are not aware of what to do after we complete the reading. Now, let us look at ways of making our reading more productive. The first and foremost thing you have to do is to identify the purpose. Ask yourself some questions like, why am I reading the text? Is it to gain knowledge, to know some information, to understand something, or is it just a casual or pleasure reading? This will give you more clarity on which text to choose and also how to approach these texts. So keep asking all these questions repeatedly to yourself to gain more insight into what you want to read, what you want to do, and this will also give you some insight on how to approach the text. You will be more clear of how to read a text. The next, choosing what to read. Now, this is a very important aspect when you are reading. Unless you choose the right text which meets your purpose, the entire effort of reading turns unproductive. So, how do you choose the right books to read? Probably ask others. The easiest and the simplest method. You can ask your friends, colleagues, experts, your teachers, the people around you. Uh, we actually do this all the time. We keep asking people for their opinion about their experience. Like when we want to watch a movie, we ask for other people's opinion who have already watched it. We read the reviews and see the number of likes before we choose to watch it. So this simple technique, simple everyday technique can be applied here as well. So you can ask around people on what to read. But don't forget to ask the right people. That is again another important thing which you have to keep in mind. You can also consult the internet sources, reviews written about books, journals, magazines. So this will give you some idea on what are the best books available to read on the specific topic which you want to read. And you can interact with people in conferences and online discussion boards. Now that in the current pandemic situation, where the online mode has become the normal thing, we can use various digital platforms. These digital platforms provide us with a lot of advantages. So maybe we can we can make use of all those platforms to decide upon what we have to read. Next, once we have chosen what to read, we need to see how to go about reading it. Uh, as I have said already, purpose is very important. So once again, recall the purpose. Now you have to do this quite a few times even when you are reading the text. This will help you in not losing track of your purpose. So keep recalling that, and that will give you more focus, and it will make your reading more productive. Now, before you begin to read a book, what should you do? Preview the book. Look at all the table of contents, the headings and the various sections and subsections. Look at the illustrations, the tables, diagrams, charts or graphs given in the book. And also try to understand how the author has organized his ideas in the book. There are various ways of organizing a text. Now the author can choose whatever is convenient to him or maybe better suited for the topic which he is writing. So you need to understand the organization of the text before you proceed into it. At least you should have a rough idea of how the text is organized. Now we'll see some of them in the upcoming slides. And make it a point to review the text before and also after reading. So it is not just sufficient if you review before reading, even after reading you have to review whatever you have read. Now this reviews, frequent reviews and recall of the purpose, all these things will be helpful to you in a lot of ways. Now you might have a question whether how to identify the organization of a text. Yes, in the beginning, of course, it is a bit difficult to understand the organization of any text because you may not be well versed with the topic. The topic may be entirely new to you. The author's style of writing may be new to you. And um, because of these reasons, you may not be able to understand the organization of a text. But that is okay. You can try doing that. Maybe if you start reading, you will get a better understanding of the organization of the ideas, and slowly you can make out the entire picture. Now other than this, try to predict the contents of a text, or try to predict what the author is going to deal with in the next section. You may be wrong sometimes. Initially, of course, it will be very difficult to make this prediction. But then if you read and if you are well experienced, if you read a lot, this prediction would be a very easy thing for you to do, and you may end up being right most of the times. But in case if you go wrong, it should not stop you from guessing. Keep guessing. So we never know how it is going to help us. So prediction is again another tool which will help you a lot. Next, Try to get an overall idea of the book. Just flip through the pages, uh, flip through all the uh, paragraph. Now this is called skimming. I think language teachers will be familiar with this. You just take a text and just skim through all the important words, phrases, sometimes pick out the sentences. Now this will give you an overall understanding of the text. And another technique, the skip. Skipping information which are not really required, or skipping something which you already know. Some unimportant information could be skipped. Examples, in case if you already understood the concept, you may not require an example, so you can very well skip it. Now we do all these things to get a global understanding or a general understanding of the entire text. So this should be helpful. So you also get a direction of how to go about reading, how much time will be consumed while reading the book to finish the book, and how in-depth the book is, whether the book deals with the topic in a very in-depth manner or in a very shallow manner, whether it meets your purpose. So you will be able to make out all these things with this global reading. Now you can also look at the discourse markers or linkers. Again, language teachers, you would be very familiar with this, and you would have also taught your students on how to use these discourse markers. Right, so we will look at all these things in a detailed manner in the upcoming slides. Now, I would recommend some aids to reading before we actually start or sit down to read. We can keep certain things handy near us. Maybe like a dictionary to look for unfamiliar words. When you come across some unfamiliar words, you really get stuck up. You're not able to proceed further. So you can have a dictionary by your side, even if it is a digital dictionary. Yes, it is helpful. You can have certain stationaries like maybe a highlighter pen if you are using it, if you are habituated to using a highlighter pen or a pencil, to note down or jot down all the important ideas or keywords, or underline the keywords, phrases. Sometimes I have seen even people making notes, uh, the columns and the margins of the textbooks. So that again would help us. And maybe you can have a notepad also by your side and jot down all the ideas, whatever you come across. You can also make use of these stick-on notes. I'm a very great fan of these stick-on notes, and I use them quite often. And they are really very helpful. Now, once you start reading all these, you also have to look at how to assimilate all the reading. So, in order to assimilate, all these aids to reading. These things may be helpful for you. You may draw a small diagram, a mind map, or give a diagrammatic representation of the concept to make it to make it more understandable, so that when you reread the text again, you will easily understand the ideas. Especially these techniques work very well with the texts which are really very heavy and which are being read for the academic purposes. Now coming to the next section, reading speed. How do we define this reading speed? Now there are a lot of theories and researches being done on this reading speed. Now how do we improve this reading speed? There are certain techniques. which help us to improve our speed. So again, it is by practice you can improve the speed. And one another important thing, you have to read in chunks. When you read something, don't read word by word. You have to read by phrases, clauses if possible. If you can understand the style of the author, if the language is comfortable, if the ideas expressed are comfortable and you are able to follow it, maybe you can even read the entire clause together, maybe an entire sentence together. So read in chunks. Chunks. What do I mean by chunks? Is two or three words together, put together. Take them as chunks. Your eyes, your vision should take them as chunks and not as individual words. So go by word chunks. So that would improve your reading speed. This is one way. And of course, the preview which you had done earlier, that would also be helpful for you to increase your speed. You'll know when to skim a passage, when to skip something, and the discourse markers will help you to know when there is a shift in thought. So all these things will help you read faster. So this is just one technique which I've shared. There are multiple techniques available. You can probably browse through or read some books on reading, increasing your speed, reading speed. There are a lot of books available, materials available, and you can practice them. So it requires some amount of practice if you really want to improve your speed. Let us say you have to finish something very quickly, and it will be better if you improve your reading speed. If reading speed, if you feel you have enough of time, probably you can go on your own pace. Maybe as you start reading, as you keep on reading, you will automatically increase the reading speed. So not a big issue. So you can always improve. Now, coming to the organization of certain techniques, certain reading techniques. Let us look at some of the techniques. The first one, predict. We were discussing in the previous slide, we were discussing about how to predict the text. Now, just read through this paragraph. I'll read for you. Manoj feels different from others as he is not able to speak in English like the others. Far from it, he is not even able to understand when the teachers teach in the class. Moreover, he doesn't dress up as smart as the others in the college. Sometimes he is even teased. Now, this paragraph talks about Manoj and his problem at college, where he is not able to speak English like the others. Probably he is from a rural background, or he might have been educated in the regional medium at school. So, and there are other factors also, like he's not able to dress up as smart as the others, and he's because of all these things he's getting teased. Now, just try to predict what could be the next sentence. It could be anything. You may be right, you may be wrong. So just try to predict what could come after this. Now, what is the prediction? He may quit college soon. So that is the idea which the author is driving in. So because of all these reasons, he is not interested in attending classes at college. So he may quit the college soon. Now this is a reality where students actually quit college because they don't know how to speak English. So this has happened and I've seen many cases like this. Now the next aspect, skim and skip. Now just go through this paragraph quickly and try to understand the main idea expressed in the paragraph. Just pick out the important key words or the key phrases which tells you about the main idea expressed. I'll read it for you. There are now over 700 million motor vehicles in the world, and the number is rising by more than 40 million each year. The average distance driven by car users is growing too, from 8 km a day per person in Western Europe in 1965 to 25 km a day in 1995. This dependence on motor vehicles has given rise to major problems, including environmental pollution, depletion of oil resources, traffic congestion, and safety. Now, I have read all of the entire paragraph word by word. Now, if I go at this pace, I don't think I'll be able to read faster, or I'll be able to um, understand the main idea. So what should I do? Instead of reading each word, I can simply look at all the important words, or the key words or key phrases. Now look at just the key words. 700 million, rising 40 million each year, 8 km a day in Western Europe in 1965, 25 km 1995. And the major problems, what are the major problems? Environmental pollution, depletion of oil resources, traffic congestion, safety. So now my eye should scan through the text in such a way that I'm able to pick up the important words or phrases alone, and I leave out all the unimportant words. Now you can practice this technique quite a few times with different types of texts. So if you practice, maybe with practice you will know what are the right words, you'll hit upon the right words. Initially this may be difficult, this may look very an impossible thing to do. But with practice you can definitely do this. So this is one of the best techniques. In fact, I have just left out all the words. I have left out almost more than half the words in the paragraph, and I've just read only half the paragraph, and I'm still able to understand the meaning expressed. So try out such kind of exercises quite often, and try it out with different kinds of texts, so that you become more familiar with the kind of text, you get more practice, and then when you're actually reading a text, you would do it more faster, and you will also make it more purposeful. You are fast and you are purposeful at the same time. Now, the next one. We were discussing about discourse markers. Now just read through this paragraph. Traveling by train is very comfortable. It's convenient as trains are spacious and have plenty of room to move about. Every train is provided with sleeper cars and baggage cars. One need not carry food as there are dining cars. A few things like pillows, towels, newspapers are provided according to the services promised. When we travel by train, we reach our destination quickly. So this is a paragraph about traveling by train. Now, I have introduced certain discourse markers. Now quickly read through the paragraph again and see how different it is from the previous one. Traveling by train is very comfortable. First, it is convenient as trains are spacious and have plenty of room to move about. Secondly, every train is provided with sleeper cars and baggage cars. Next, one need not carry food as there are dining cars. Additionally, a few things like pillows, towels, newspapers are provided according to the services promised. Finally, when we travel by train, we reach our destination quickly. Now, look at the usage of discourse markers in the passage. First, secondly. Now I have ordered all these ideas. First, secondly, next, additionally, finally. All these ideas have been ordered. So when a reader reads, he has to look for these discourse markers. So these discourse markers will give an indication of what is coming next. So when I read the word first, I understand that there is something coming up in the second position. And maybe when I read the word secondly, maybe there could be something else. And when I say finally, the reader, as a reader, I understand that this is the last idea which I'm going to express, which the author has expressed. So these discourse markers are very helpful in letting the readers know what is coming next. So when I was talking about prediction, making predictions, so these discourse markers will help you predict better. Now there are many different types of discourse markers, or otherwise called as linkers, which would actually help you to understand the text better. So there are some, these discourse markers are for ordering something, that is according to the order of importance, classifying, giving a criteria. So these are the functions for which these discourse markers are used. There are discourse markers for adding some new information. For example, if I want to add something more, I would say moreover, in addition to. So these are some of the discourse markers which are used to show that a new idea or a continuing idea is going to be added up. And when I say therefore, at last, finally, so all these discourse markers indicate that I am concluding. I have arrived at a conclusion. So as a reader, one has to look at all these discourse markers. So when you keep track of all these discourse markers, you will know the pattern of the text. And this will make your reading better, productive. Now, let us look into the different structures of text. So we were discussing about structure of books, articles, etc. So as you know, books, articles, research papers, dissertations, all of these are very structured kind of writing. Any writing for that matter is very structured. Now I have not chosen very long text. I have chosen very short text, a small paragraph, so that we can discuss the structure, so that I can show you how a text is structured, the different ways in which a text is structured. Now this structure is applicable to paragraphs. This may be the same idea, the concept may be applicable to larger text as well. Now larger text work in a different way. So you can look at the table of contents, the headings or the subheadings for a better idea for larger text. Now let us look at the structure of this particular paragraph. Just read through the paragraph. I'll read it for you. It is often said that lightning never strikes twice in the same place, but this isn't true. Go ask the forest rangers. Rangers who spend their summers as firefighters will tell you that every thunder shower brings several bolts of lightning to their outlook stations. So this is a particular paragraph. Now I don't know what exactly, if I read it in the first go, I don't know what exactly the paragraph is trying to tell. I have to analyze to understand what the paragraph is trying to tell. So now look at this paragraph. Now I highlighted the main idea here. So the very first sentence, it is often said that lightning never strikes twice in the same place, but this isn't true. So that is the main idea which the paragraph is trying to tell. And all the following lines are supporting ideas, examples, etc. So this is how a text is structured. So I give the main idea in the beginning, and then followed by that I support it with various other facts. So this is the example of a deductive paragraph. So deductive paragraphs begin with a point or the topic sentence and then go on to support and develop that point. It can be this structure can be represented by a triangle. So I start with a main point or the main idea and then I expand it towards the end of the paragraph. So this is a deductive paragraph. So this is one of the ways in which a text can be structured. Now this can also be applied to a larger text, let us say for an example, for example, an essay. You can write deductive essays like this, in the deductive fashion. Now, the next one. Now take a look at this paragraph. Just read through that. Costs were low that year and output high. There was a good person for each job and the market remained firm. There were no losses from fire. All in all, it was the best years in the history of the company. So now again, where is the main idea here? Just think for a second. Are you able to identify it? Now, look at the paragraph. I have highlighted the main idea. So what is the main idea here? All in all, it was the best years in the history of the company. So they are giving the various reasons. The costs were low, output was high, and you had a good person, good labor, good market. There were no losses. So hence, it was a very good year for the company. So I have arranged all my reasons and finally I have concluded. Finally I have given the conclusion. So now this is inductive way of writing. So inductive paragraphs begin generally and end more specifically with a point, topic sentence, a major idea or thesis. Now this inductive paragraph can be represented in the form of an inverted triangle. So it starts with the general idea and narrows down to the specific idea. So this is another way in which a text can be structured. So I can write a short text like this, a paragraph maybe. I can even apply this to larger texts. Now, the next one. Now read this paragraph. There are great numbers of deer around here. This whole area is great country for hunters and fishermen. There are bears, mountain lions and coyotes. To the east there are streams full of trout and there are ducks and geese. Now can you identify the main idea here? Or see how this text is structured? Okay, now look at this. I have highlighted the main idea here. This whole area is great country for hunters and fishermen. So this is the main idea here. Now how does the paragraph begin? The author begins and ends with examples. He has used examples in the beginning of the paragraph and also at the end of the paragraph. And the main idea is stated somewhere in the second sentence. So this is another way of arrangement. Now why the author has chosen to do this, it is his discretion, his convenience, or maybe the subject requires him to do so, or maybe he finds this as the best method to express the idea. So because of these reasons, the text structure varies. Now going on to the next one. Just read through this paragraph. I'll read it for you. Advertising affects our lives every day. Brand names are common household words. We start each day using the toothpaste, soap, and breakfast foods promoted by advertisers. Ads have made the cars we drive signs of our success. Our choices of food, dress, and entertainment are swayed by ads. Not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. Now look at the paragraph and see and try to understand how it has been structured. This is a bit lengthy from the rest of the paragraphs. Okay, now look at the highlighted ideas. So advertising affects our lives every day. Brand names are common household words. So these are the main ideas expressed. Then followed by that we have so many examples. All whatever follows it are just examples supporting ideas, like how advertising affects our daily life in toothpaste, soap, in the form of breakfast foods, cars, food, dress, entertainment, everything. So advertisement affects the way we choose our day-to-day products. Then look at the last line. Not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. So each and every aspect of life is being touched by this advertising. Now, how has the author structured the text? The main idea is stated at the beginning of the paragraph and then restated at the end as well. Now, the author is trying to emphasize the idea. So, restatement brings an emphasis to the paragraph and the main idea is stressed again. Now, the next one. Now, read through this paragraph. Penicillin is one of the greatest of the wonder drugs. It has saved thousands of lives already and will save many more in the future. Unfortunately, it has no effect at all on most of the ills of mankind. Penicillin is a very good drug, but it's certainly not a cure-all. So now try to understand the structure of this text. Now look at the main idea. So again, as in the previous example, here again the main idea is split up. So in the previous, what was the difference in the previous paragraph and in this paragraph? In the previous paragraph we saw that the same idea has been restated. The idea which was expressed in the beginning of the paragraph had been expressed at the end of the paragraph. It has been restated to add on emphasis. Now in this paragraph again, what has happened? There are two main ideas expressed, one at the beginning of the paragraph and another at the end of the paragraph. So what is the first idea which is expressed? Penicillin is one of the greatest of the wonder drugs. So the author has split the main idea. It begins with positive comments on penicillin. Now how do we get to know the shift in the thought? Towards the end there is a shift in the thought. At the end he says penicillin is a very good drug, but it is certainly not a cure-all. So how do we get to know that there is a shift in thought? Now look at the usage of words like unfortunately, but. Now these are words which signals a shift in thought. And the paragraph ends with a statement of penicillin's limitations. So this is another way of arranging the ideas. So if you're familiar with the structure of the text, it would be more easier for you to understand the ideas expressed, and probably you can do a more purposeful reading. Now, many a times the direct message or the direct idea, the main idea may not be that very obvious. Now read through this paragraph and try to deduce the meaning. I'll read it for you. Do you wear glasses? Make sure your glasses fit well. The earpieces should be at eye level. Don't try to adjust the earpieces yourself. Take your glasses for adjustments to the place you bought them. Keep your glasses in a case when you are not wearing them. This will prevent scratches. Keep the lenses clean. A soft cloth is best for cleaning. Now, what is the paragraph about? Now you can obviously see the word glasses repeated so many times. So I can, from the text, even if I don't read the entire paragraph, I can still make that this is about glasses. The paragraph is about glasses. Now here, the main idea is implied. It is not directly stated. Okay, so what is the main idea? We have to take care of our glasses, and taking care of the glasses involves many steps. So what to do and how to adjust and how to wear, how to clean, how to prevent it from scratches by cleaning it with the cloth and keeping it in a case when we are not using them. So all these things, they try to tell, or they try to imply that we have to a lot of steps are involved in cleaning the glasses. So this is an idea which is implied. Now these kinds of texts would be a little difficult to understand, or difficult to make out. So we may lose track of the main idea. Now this happens for quite a few reasons. One thing, probably the thought is so heavy, the ideas are so heavy that the author is not able to express them in sufficiently in a small text, or maybe he's not getting the right words to express it. So this could be one reason. Another reason is that the subject itself might be very heavy, where the author has only the liberty to uh, talk about, discuss, and not judge. Probably he's giving the liberty to the readers to judge the result or the outcome or his opinion. So he's only trying to imply. In some cases, he cannot directly judge a piece of writing. He has to leave it to the readers. So in context like this alone, we have to get the implied meaning. And in some cases, the focus would be something else. And let us say there is a main idea, and the author is trying to convey that main idea. And in the process, he is giving a lot of information, expressing a lot of ideas. Now, in that process, what he implies, the meaning he implies, may be really lost, or the author doesn't want to give much importance to those ideas. His focus is on something else. He wants to focus on something else, and hence he is not discussing about the idea expressed there. Or sometimes it could be even a challenge to the readers. Probably the author is giving a challenge to the readers. He's challenging the readers as to whether they can follow him, or he's just kind of teasing them to follow him. So these are some of the ways in which authors generally write a text. So we need to understand the different kind of structures. Now, whatever I have shown you so long has been some of the ways in which a text can be written. Now, this kind, all the text may not fall under these categories. There could be different categories. It may well depend on the subject, depend on the style of the author, depends on the readers for whomever the author is writing the text. So there are a lot of other factors like that. So now that you have got a fair idea of how to approach a text, how to decipher the organization of the text, I think these things would be helpful for you. Now, once I have done all the reading, what do I do after that? Now, generally, this is a thing which we fail to do most often. Even very good readers, they fail to do this. We read When we read through a text, and when we finish the last page, we just close the book and we just keep it away. When we are happy with the ending, probably if you're reading a novel, if you're very happy with the ending, we are all smiles and we are all floating on cloud nine. But let us say, um, if it is a very heavy text, like an academic text, where you have a lot of thoughts expressed, you cannot just leave away the book after you finish reading. Now, what you have to do is recall. So maybe you have read a book of 200 to 300 pages, or maybe more than that. Now, how do you recall the entire ideas mentioned there? So, recalling first would involve recalling all the major ideas. Like after you have read, you can think about whatever you have read and recall all the major ideas, whatever comes to your mind in the beginning. Then, after which, you can start making notes. Now, this note making process can happen while you're reading also, or maybe it can happen during the second time when you're reading the text. Maybe in the first time you plan to just read through the entire book, and in the second reading probably you plan to go for a very um, intensive reading. So when you do that, you can go for note making. Now, why should we make notes? Of course, all of us would agree, students and teachers all alike would agree that making notes are very beneficial. When you make notes, you not only recall all the ideas, you arrange them clearly. You know what are the important ideas, you're able to distinguish between what is important, what is unimportant, and you're able to cull out the message or the theme or the important concepts explained in the text. So note making is very essential, and it is a process which you have to definitely do after reading, or actually, to be precise, you can start it even during reading. You have to, if you do it while reading, it will be even more helpful. Maybe you can take it up in the second reading if the book is really very complex or heavy. So note making, again, note making is a skill by itself. So we have been teaching students, as teachers, we have been teaching students of how to make notes from school, from the schools. Teacher, right from the schools, teachers teach the students of how to make notes and all that. So we know how important it is. And also there are a lot of methods of note making. You can go by the keywords or key phrases, or you can number the ideas. You can use the numbering system, the different numbering systems, to arrange your ideas. You can also go by you can write full sentences. Now, sometimes there is a challenge in note making. Sometimes when you make notes, you're not able to follow your own notes when you get back to them after some time. So if that is the case, now this happens when the subject is very new to you, and you have not been in touch with the subject for a long time. So these are some of the reasons why you're not able to recall your own notes, not able to understand your own notes. So in that case, you could go for note preparation using sentences. Short sentences would help you. Sometimes even some people are more prone to using pictures, graphs, tables, mind maps. So that again would make it very simple and easy to understand. So these are some of the methods of making notes. And you can summarize the entire thing. Let us say if you do not want to note down each and every idea, we only want to note down the important ideas alone. Okay, fine. So you can go for summarizing. And paraphrasing. What exactly is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing is writing something in a way in which the reader can understand. You as a reader can understand. Let us say you read a book and the author has expressed his views, opinions, and then you read the book and then you try to understand what the author is trying to tell and put that in your own words. Now that is paraphrasing, rewording in a way in which you can understand. Now, after I have done all these things, I have now read my text, I have made notes on it, I've summarized and paraphrased or made notes or something. And then finally, after all this process, what do? I try to formulate my own ideas. Now, what does this mean? It means that you can talk about your own ideas about the entire subject, about the way in which the author has dealt with the subject. Maybe you can agree with what the author has told. Maybe you can disagree. Maybe you can judge, draw some conclusions, judge his opinion, try to study his opinion, and try to comment on it, and try to understand, and maybe try to even defend or attack the ideas expressed there. So these are some of the ideas. It is better to note down these ideas, because when you are reading a text, when you finish reading a text, you're fresh with ideas, your brain is brimming with lot of ideas, and you have to make a note of all these ideas, because later on you may not come across these things. These are the euphoric moments, eureka moments, which have to be recorded. So what you draw out of all these things? Man is basically a rational animal, so he has to analyze what he has read. So this is what exactly you have to do after you have read. Formulate your ideas. Now all these kind would be very helpful for you in research, in writing articles, writing dissertations or thesis. So formulating ideas is something which we haven't taught, we taught our students, or neither have we learned properly. So we can do this, formulating ideas. Then finally the same thing, recording your own observations. So how you felt while you read the book, what were your feelings, and how was it, how was the reading, was it easy, difficult, or whether the style of the author was easy to follow, whether it was too difficult to follow, it was a new thing, or it was a very enriching experience, your own observations about the entire reading process. So after reading, these are some of the things which you have to do. Now, the final thing, practice. Nothing beats practice. So if you want to make your reading really productive, you have to read a lot. Read, read, and read, and read. Keep reading. So practice a lot with different kinds of texts, with different kinds of authors, and follow all these techniques. And this will make your reading more productive. So this practice will make your reading more productive. Thank you. So I hope I have covered all of the important aspects. Now let me recall whatever we have discussed. We first started with why at all reading is essential. What are the benefits of reading? Where and all do we read? And what is productive reading? Can reading be really unproductive? What are the ways in which we can make our reading more productive? identifying the purpose, which is really very essential. Then choosing what to read, choosing the right kind of text. Next one, how to read. How to read a particular, once you've chosen the book, how to read the text. We looked at the different structures of text, the different aspects the text would have, and how to identify those aspects which would make it more productive, more meaningful, and fast as well. And after you read, what are the things which you have to do? You have to make notes. You can make notes, recall, make notes, prepare a summary, write your own observations about the reading, about the experience, and your own judgments or agreements, formulating your own ideas about the entire book. So this is how reading would be, productive reading can be done. Thank you very much all the dear participants for participating in this workshop, FTP. I hope it was a very useful session for you. Thank you all once again.
Dear participants, on behalf of Department of English, Madam University College, Panagudi Tirunelveli, I express my sincere gratitude to Mrs. Sivaranjani ma'am for her beautiful and thought-provoking ideas. I hope you will all agree with me how beautiful presented she was, how beautifully and intelligently and brilliantly she has presented today. First of all, I must thank her for her a very kind heart, because the last moment I had invited her, when she knows Dr. Chandra Kumar sir is not feeling well, she has immediately accepted my invitation and is ready to talk with, ready to prepare with the same topic chosen by Chandra Kumar sir. Thank you, ma'am. A special thank you for the special gratitude for this again. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your thought-provoking promotion. I think all our participants will agree with me. They had known something new today about production of reading skill. Well, talking about reading, every people, some people, some teachers and some common people, they are having a reading skill. But some people, they are not ready to read even a single page. I had known that. Even one of my students, they are telling that if I ask a question, have you ever read a book? They simply smile and say, no sir, we haven't read a book, but we had seen some images, book pages, images on phone, laptop or an iPad. Nowadays, people are getting away from reading skill and reading ability. But anyhow, we teachers know that we must read always. We must know something every day. We must invent something according to the need of our. Well, standing in front of some students in a particular, maybe a 50 or 60 in a group, they are expecting something new from us, because the students know that this teacher is this much of experience, and that's we are expecting this idea from him or her. Reading makes a man happy. But your presentation, it was very good, very lucid one. Everybody, all our participants, they might have understood what your point. Thank you, ma'am. Once again, I am telling from my bottom of heart, thank you very much, ma'am. Dear participants, thank you for your active participation and your comments. Here, signing off, Dr. Bharathiyar. Hope we will meet tomorrow at the same time.